Hey guys, I'm back. So today, continuing where we left off, I thought it would be ideal to add something that's common in most synthesizers, which is a low-pass filter. And um, it's actually pretty easy to implement that. Um, so to do that, what we're going to do is first we're going to just move everything before the audio outs. We're just going to move that back a little bit because we're going to be dealing in this area here. Um, so I guess I was just going to put a filter on everything that was coming out of, right before the master outs, so that what we affect is we affect the whole synthesizer. So I'm just going to delete, well, first I'll add a filter, which if you just right click, go to built-in module filter, and I'm going to go with a low pass 4-pole. So if you're wondering what that means, I guess if you look at the screenshot here, this is a 2-pole low pass filter. It means that there's an attenuation curve of 12 decibels, which you don't really need. The curve is not as steep as a 4-pole. I guess I'll just leave it at that. So basically what a low pass filter is, for those of you who don't know, it's basically a filter that lets the lowest frequencies pass through. So everything south of, well, everything south. Everything to the left is what's let through, and everything above that is cut off. And then if you look here, a low pass 4-pole filter is basically this, the same principle, but with a steeper curve. The cutoff is more sharp and noticeable. So for our purposes, I think a 2-pole sounds nicer, so I'm just going to use that. So in order to get that to work, we're just going to delete the connections here and here, and um, then so obviously we're going to have the audio signal. It's going to go to the this is the audio in here. Make sure that your overall audio signal is going out here, and then the resonance. So if you notice this little peak here on the little diagram that they're showing us for the 4-pole filter module, that is the resonance basically. And if the resonance is at 0, there's no curve. It means that it's just going to be a perfectly flat response at where the filter begins attenuating. But if you can have any values between 0 and 1 for your resonance, which basically what resonance does for the ear, it sounds like it gives a little bit of grind or bite to the sound. Basically, it's always make sure that that value is below 1. So actually, yeah, what we're going to do next here is we're just going to add, we're just going to go to math, and we're going to add constant, and we're going to change the value to 0.5. I think that's a good middle ground value. So then we're just going to connect that to the resonance. Okay, so the P is interesting. What Reaktor offers for this is something called logarithmic pitch control, which means it takes, basically it interprets these as MIDI notes. So for example, A440 is number 69 in MIDI. And so what's actually happening is the note pitch is sending the value of 69 to this output if I was just to go from the note pitch to the P input on the over here. And what that does is the filter cutoff point is where the pitch lands when you play a note. So I guess it basically means that the filter will sound consistent for all the notes. So I guess to give you an idea of what that sounds like, let's connect the low pass 2-pole filter over here and here, and then I'll just play a note. You can barely hear that. But notice that the notes sound consistent between each other, whether I play high notes or low notes. That's one of the benefits of that, but yeah. So, but actually, if you want to, so most of us, however, don't want to. We want to have a little more control over our filter. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that we can control it with a knob. And obviously, you know, going back on our previous learning, built-in module panel, we're going to add a knob, and I'm going to call it filter. And then we're just going to go our panel, move our newly created knob down here. Looks good, I guess. Okay, so now we have a knob that has a filter. So this is the easiest solution I found. There's probably a better way, but this is, this is help you get an idea of how to get a filter working. I'm going to delete the line we made between the note pitch and the 4-pole, and instead of controlling it with the note pitch, we're going to control it with a knob. So now remember that this pitch input only takes in MIDI notes, right? It takes in MIDI values that it then converts to frequency. What we want to do is control it based on the frequency, not on the MIDI notes. So how we do that, first I'm going to change the max value. If you click on this and make sure you click on properties, change this to 20,000 to 0000, and again, this isn't a perfect example, but I'll show you how this works here. Okay, so now we have the actual frequency values that we want to mess with, and not the MIDI notes. However, this only takes in MIDI notes. So if we just played this right now, it would sound really bad. So I'm not even going to try. I don't know if that would have implications on the speakers or what. Actually, no, it wouldn't. We can try this. So right now, it would be sending. Let's see, what would it be sending? In order for the value to have its effect, if you go up here to the filter, and this might not be the best example right now, but see, notice that when I make changes, it doesn't even recognize them unless it's at 0, in which it cuts all the audio off. See, it's not even interpreting these higher values because it's reading MIDI notes that only go up to 127, and the resolution of this knob is so low that it only goes as low as 0, and the next step is 157, which is way off. So how do we fix this? Well, we go to built-in module. We go to math again. Aren't we loving this math? We're using lots of math here. It makes you feel really smart, right? So in math, you have this thing where it says log and exponent, and it looks really scary, but this is how you convert the this is how we get what we need to get done. You want to make sure you hit the log F, right? So basically what that does is, now it looks a little less scary because on this side you have frequency. Well, if we go over to info here, it says logarithm for converting linear frequency values in hertz to logarithmic pitch values in semitones. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the frequency that is output from the knob, from the filter controlling knob, and convert it into the pitch algorithms or the MIDI notes that the filter is expecting. So we're just going to delete this path, and we're going to go from filter to F and then P to P. So now the filter should actually do what we were hoping it would do in the first place. So yeah, notice when I play a note now, it sounds really low. But now it sounds more like a filter we're used to.